Welcome back to the podcast, boys. We're on episode 154. Thank you for joining us. One thing that I want to bring up for this week's episode is gambling, talking about gambling, specifically gambling ads, because I know the government of Ontario has been talking about it, so I kind of want to share my thoughts on it because it's been a controversial topic and it's kind of trending right now. So I want to give my take on that and see what you guys have to think about it. Obviously, we're trying to engage you guys. So gambling, Ontario government, like I mentioned, they're considering getting rid of the ads for gambling. Their argument is that it's unhealthy because it's getting people to gamble. That's creating people to have gambling addictions. That's creating unhealthy lives. So it's like a step-by-step thing that they're worried about. And if they cut that branch off at the start of the tree, then the rest will fall. Here's how I see it. Gambling, I think you can watch ads of gambling and, Bet365. That's one I always see. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't get me to want to gamble any more than I already am, which is none. My age, I can't. But if you look at it in more like a broad position, it's like, would that still, right? Like, for me, no. Because I have a friend that was using that Bet365 online, and he's kind of what the Ontario government are looking at, but he's underage, so he's illegally gambling online. I'm not gonna shout you out, but you know who you are. And he's betting illegally online, and he's been losing fucking money, dude. He's been losing money when he's not supposed to be losing money because you're not allowed, right? So that's like a perfect example of like the Ontario government might want to consider that, but he's underage. Right, yeah. Or maybe add some more restrictions into it if he's getting like past this shit. Maybe fuck with like Bet365's like owner and be like, hey, what the fuck's going on here? Or I don't know, ban certain ones that really fuck with people. But I think overall, I don't really see a big issue for it. Like I said, as a general person, forget about my age. You're not going to be seeing me want to be a gambling addict or just gamble in general because I see ads, and that won't really affect me. What they're doing is a good intention. Obviously, they don't want to create unhealthy lives. So I'm going to have to say I don't think that it should be banned because it's just people trying to make money off their business. You can argue, though, that by promoting it, you might get more people onto it. And that could be the case. I'm not really strongly opinionated. I'm just more leaning towards like, no, I don't really think it's that bad as what they think it is.
Yeah, so I have a friend who does the same thing. He also, he does sports betting. And then he did sports betting, and then he started the Plinko machine on stake, and then he started playing blackjack and roulette, and he's I don't know if he still does it, but he was full into it. I don't know. I don't think it was the ads that coerced him into doing it. I think that he decided for himself. And yeah, a lot of people just do it for fun. So I think it just depends how you go in there, what mindset you go in terms of banning the ads. I don't see the ads necessarily as a bad thing. I think sports betting isn't that bad. It takes more knowledge to actually get into it. You actually have to watch the team. My boss put in $80 on the Lakers to win the whole NBA Finals, and $80, you have a $2,000 return. I would do that. $80, sure, throw it in.
Dude, MGM already got a fucking dickload of money with MGM Grand, MGM whatever casino. They already have a lot there. I don't think that they really money is totally out of the question. You look at MGM Grand, you see how fucking stacked that thing is. So you can rule that out of the equation of, well, they just want money and they're trying to persuade these kids and these people. No, I think they're just doing that because that's a part of their business. That's just what they want to do. And I don't think really money is in that picture when it comes to MGM. When I was younger, I saw the same dude at the local gas station running up his lotto because that's just what he did every Sunday or something. There's that to consider, and I don't know how that happens. I don't know how those addicts start.
Marketing is important for every single business, no matter if it's casinos, if you're selling soccer cleats, if you're a restaurant. Marketing is a part of all businesses. But I think you can't pinpoint one specific thing that leads to gambling addiction.
Yeah, 100%.
You can't just say, I had a bunch of ads, and that one ad led this kid to go into a gambling addiction. Again, there is
probably not the case.
There's responsibility in all parts, right? That kid that was gonna get a gambling addiction from seeing the ad, maybe he'll find another way to get into gambling.
I 100% agree with you. It's just not that one thing that's gonna fuck them all.
Well, to be fair though, the argument is that there's so many, and then like it all has a domino effect. Like for example, you're bored and you like on average you see like dick ton of casino and gambling ads. You're like fucking might as well try something, you know. And then you start to learn. Like me, for example, I started learning how to play blackjack on GTA, and now like I'm fucking dying to get into a casino. But like again, yeah, the responsibilities really.
Aren't there like bans on? There's bans on certain ads. Like you can't have pornography in ads unless it's on pornography. But then you can't have like cigarette ads. Back in the day, probably in the 60s, they're probably showing that off everywhere. You know, get this nice cigar. Like gambling, I don't put that in the same area because I think smoking and just drugs in general are more addictive.
Like all of these, they're all grouped together, like gambling, smoking, pornography. They're all just like addictions that people have. But again, I think there's not a specific thing you can pinpoint them.
Yeah.
And the point that I want to make here, in business, you learn about a funnel. And so like you'll see people, whether they're doing marketing, advertising, or trying to sell something, they'll usually have a funnel that funnels them into buying the product. So whether that be seeing a display ad on Google that makes you press on the link and you buy it that way, or you see it and then, okay, it's been a couple weeks, whatever, and then, hey, I need to buy, let's say, a new pair of soccer cleats, and then you remember that ad you saw a week ago. Okay, now I'm going to go and buy those soccer cleats because I saw an ad of it. But just because you see that, I don't feel like it's influencing your behavior because you still have responsibility and control in what you purchase and what you don't. Same with casinos. You have the responsibility to choose if you want to gamble or if you don't want to gamble. So at the end of the day, you can't pinpoint it on one specific thing.
Using your logic against you, if there is an ad that says you guys should go and jump off of bridges and see what happens, would you think that should be taken down and not published?
Well, I would say there's a line. So you don't like promote suicide, but again, it's like, do you think if you watch that ad, you're gonna be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna go kill myself?
Someone that's suicidal, someone that's depressed.
I guess.
I hate to say it, but there might be some kid out there, anybody, any age, and they see that and they think, okay, yeah, maybe this is a sign. Maybe this is a sign. I should just quit, end it all. Fuck, that would suck. That's why they're not ads. Like,
but what would that be promoting? Why would you promote killing yourself to anything?
Yeah, true.
Right? Like, is my business killing someone? I think also though, if you start with one, like let's say you try to remove gambling ads, then you have to get rid of all bad addiction ads. Like you see, I think there's ones for like, I think that you can get like vape ads and stuff.
Edible arrangements, I think I've seen before.
So then, with that logic, you have to get rid of all of them because they're all bad, right?
Yeah.
So again, you can't like just say, oh, this is bad. Like it's either you can have them all or you can't have any.
Yeah.
And that's my.
But I think, but not. I think there's an exception because gambling, I don't see. This is just my opinion. I don't think the world should be agreeing on this because they're not going to. But like, gambling, I have no problem with it being on an ad, as opposed to pornography, because there's little kids that shouldn't be getting involved in pornography when they're watching something on YouTube or on YouNow or whatever the fuck, Snapbook, InstaChat, and I think, that that stuff shouldn't be on there. But a kid's not gonna understand gambling. If they see a gambling ad, probably it's just gonna go straight through. And then depending on what's on that ad, obviously, but I'm talking about the message itself. But if that kid sees a pornography ad, they're gonna be like, "What the heck is this? Like, this is not what I'm used to seeing." And then that shit's gonna, that shit's gonna evolve. That shit's gonna spiral out of control. But then I think that also you shouldn't have ads on stuff that's promoting people for bad things, like pornography, and then also like drugs, because drugs are bad for you. I don't care what anyone has to say. And the gambling thing is, to me, just not bad for you in that aspect. It's not bad like in general, because honestly, if you know how to gamble, if you have that skill, you're going to make a lot of money. So I don't think it's a bad thing in general.
So many videos just don't have, like YouTube, for example, like on like videos on like first aid and shit like that, like they don't have ads on them, like on purpose. So like if you like open it up, like you're in a hurry to like watch a video, it's like save someone's, like they're not gonna put ads on this video.
Also, they have like YouTube Kids, and I think they get different like targeted ads.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not gonna have vape ads for YouTube Kids because it's just a whole different demographic.
Yeah.
First off,
Yeah.
second off, there's like a safe search feature that filters that out so that kids intentionally don't see that shit.
Yes, true. To be fair though, this has not happened recently, but when I was younger, I've seen some fucked ads on YouTube. There's one I can remember, of like a horse dying. It was like a little like footage of a horse dying, and then that was posted as like a help animals, donate now, which is fucked. No one wants to see that. That's gonna get people less inclined to donate to your organization if that's shitty or not. That's just the case. So I think yeah, it's been a thing, but I haven't seen that in a while. So that's good.
Yeah, I think there's so many different approaches to marketing too. Like, I don't know if there's a night market in Vancouver, and they had people standing outsides, and like they have like this really like dramatic way of marketing, and they're like trying to promote like some veganism organization or whatever, and they all wear black suits and they hold like iPads, and it's just like, these are what the slaughterhouses look like, and there's like cows just fucking on like an escalator getting like killed and shit.
Yeah, and that's
and
fucked.
Whatever, like butchers and shit, all these cows getting fucked. And I'm like
Nobody
a kid.
wants to see that.
I'm a kid walking by.
Oh, is this your story?
Yeah, I was a
Oh,
kid
fuck.
walking out of the night market. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, Mom, what is
Yeah,
this? Like,
and that's another like Christians do this. This is like one reason I don't fuck with Christians. Not all of them. All right, some of you guys are chill, but a lot of these Christians, like, it's just a stereotype.
Okay, I think putting it like, I don't know what you're trying to say. I think that's a bit you're gonna get clipped on that. But what, like, the way you're trying to put it is that even with religion, advertisement is also as wrong as betting, and it also promotes not an addiction, but like in a sense of it has to be a choice and a responsibility. And you have to have a grasp on the concept of if you're choosing to get involved with such behaviors, such as drugs, alcohol, even religion.
Yeah, religion though, they're not getting anything because they're going off of the word of God, so they're thinking they're doing the world a favor by pissing everyone off. So, yeah.
He just points to the camera, right? He knows.
No, but because they're just, if anything, they're promoting the church. They're promoting people to come in, talk to the pastor.
But it's also gonna have the same effect that we're talking about. Okay,
Yep.
and we're talking about the
action of it.
Yeah, the action of it is not correct. As in, even though you're influencing someone with the right thing, but they don't have it. Like kids generally, like you can like talk about it to an adult, but like I feel like influencing even a child's mind in any way towards anything, when it's such an opinionated based subject, is wrong, because they gotta be able to have their own outlook on life. Okay, you can't, it's really wrong to affect that, and I can say that personally because I grew up in a place like Iran where like all of that shit is like shoved into your brain and they try to force it in you, and even if it's religion, it's very wrong.
Yep, like I was like if I'm taking my kid to a soccer game and then we got these fuckers outside saying the end is near, believe in God, you're gonna go to hell. I don't want my little kid seeing that, dude, because that's not the message I'm trying to give them. You're fucking up my, parenting, dude. And like a lot of the time I see this and I want to say something, but then I'm like, okay, well if I do, it's going to be a big deal that it shouldn't, not have been, because by me saying something negative to them, it's not going to do anything. So I just don't.
There's a right way to go about it and there's a wrong way to go about it. Aggressively pushing someone towards a certain decision or a certain, I don't know, any like product or whatever it is in an aggressive way, I find is like just not the way to do it. Like if you're, especially with
it could be anything,
like life altering decisions, like religion and faith, and like trying to convert someone, trying to like aggressively convert someone. Oh, if you don't follow this specific religion, you're gonna go to hell and burn for eternity. And like I don't know, marketing towards children. Like that.
It's like, Daddy, you like, am I gonna die and go to okay? Hold on a second before we get into the stadium. I gotta deal with this shit. So that's not something an interaction that we want to have. So, this, I think that it should not be. I think it should be taken more seriously. Just shit like that. Like, hey, like, dude, I'm a man of God. You're right, but I don't agree with you. Because God doesn't want you pissing off my kids, dude, or making them scared. Right? That's my view. If you don't agree with that, that's fine. But that's ultimately what you're doing, dude. You're just making everyone mad. Actually, this happened to me. It's kind of funny actually. I was kind of laughing when I was walking away. I was had this interaction where there's this guy on a microphone like reading off a Bible verse, and he was staring at me. He's staring at me as I'm like walking by, trying to ignore it, and so I just go like, and then he talks on the mic and he says, "I know it might sound silly, but," and then I'm just like, keep on, you know. So it's funny because it's like I don't like those people because of what their actions to the world, to society, and that also, like I was saying, like fucks with other, and this is like a broader segment, right? It fucks with those people, like then people that actually, you know, could be learning about God and getting into the faith are gonna look at these guys and they're gonna think, oh, I don't want to get involved in that, or no, I don't want to. That's just a part of it. That's just one side of it. That they're not all like that, right? You're giving out a bad narrative. That's exactly what it is. You're giving out a bad narrative. It doesn't have to do with religion. It could be about gambling. It could be about like pornography. Well, pornography is in general is bad, but like if I'm talking about, let's use gambling as an example. If someone's advertising gambling, start gambling. This is my business. You know, we're gonna run it. We're gonna do some great things together. As opposed to some guy saying, you have to gamble, you're missing out, you fucker, you gambling. Like, you know, it's like that. There's the narrative really affects society, really does. So if you are perceiving and if you're advertising your stuff in any way, you're going to have a narrative, whether that's good or bad. So if your narrative's good, it's going to be you know, something more, it's just in general going to be good, right? If I'm someone that's promoting some really bad, like scammy gambling site, people are going to be like, oh, that's gambling. That's not good, right? And then every time they see someone advertising gambling, that's bad, because they're basing it off of what they first saw, which is a bad thing. So it's not just religion, it's not just gambling. You know, the list goes on. Yeah.
My question to you is, like, what is, like, a good narrative? Like, what would a good narrative for pushing your message or your product or your service? Like, how would you do it?
That all depends on your opinion. But for me, what I would say, a good narrative would be something that is not provoking you and is not, you know, pushing your buttons. Like something that's like light. I'm gonna use the example of Wreck-It Ralph. The second one, you know, in the scene where they have the pop-up ads and they're shoving it in the guy in like Ralph's face and like click on this, click on that, like that stuff you're not gonna want to see. But if you have like a small ad here or there, like it's not that bad. That's just how the internet works. So to answer your question, I think it all depends on you, what you think is a good narrative, because those Christians, those hardcore Christians are going to think that's the good narrative, and that they're not going to look at it as the way I'm thinking. They don't have that mindset. So it all depends on you. For me, I'm not sure. I would think probably just, you know, whether I like it or not is just how I think.
I got a question for you guys. So can you look back and recall somewhere where you were like caught using, like you were like, you had to make a choice and your choice was affected because of an ad you saw, and then you figured that out?
I don't entirely understand the question.
Like, for example, you were deciding to buy something, but you didn't know what brand or whatever, and then you're like, you made the choice by an
based
ad.
Off an ad.
You based off an ad you did.
Okay, so it's like, let's say I'm thinking, I want to buy Adidas. No, I want to buy Nike, and then Nike pops up and it says buy me.
No, it's like, for example, like I don't know, like Grammarly. Like you everybody's seen dick ton of like Grammarly ads, like, and then you're like, well, I need something to like help me with my like writing and shit. You're like, I'm just gonna download Grammarly, like off the top of your head, like moments like that, and you're like, oh shit, like I'm influenced by that.
Okay, well, oh yeah, in that circumstance, no. But to me, the bad narrative in this case is Grammarly, because that was a big like meme, and I wasn't the only one. A lot of my peers were like, Grammarly, fuck Grammarly. Every time the ad comes up, fuck Grammarly. That doesn't just happen over one or two times. That happens from constant nagging of your, you know, screen time. So I think that's a bad narrative.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, but I think also like people are influenced by ads, whether like consciously or not.
Yeah,
I think in some way
negative.
You are always affected by ads. So
100%. Well, just by watching it, you're affected. I'm trying to watch this video. This ad's in my way.
Yeah, but I think even it just being there, is a form of like, it's top of mind. Like again, when I was doing my paper and I had to submit it, I'm thinking, okay, this is wrong. Like, my grammar's off. I could have like some spelling errors. What should I do? Why did I think of Grammarly as a service
Because it's always there.
because it's top of mind, right?
Yep.
And because I have an experience with someone who I trust and one of my good friends who used it. Okay, so maybe I'll try it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like,
It's good in that way
yeah, so it's like
for them.
keeping it
Or you.
top of mind allows people to like almost reconsider, because I think the point of like aggressively advertising and targeting is to keep it top of mind.
Yep.
So like, again, you could use any example.
You know, that's actually really funny you say that, because I used the Wreck-It Ralph example, and in that, they had the ad was to how to make money fast, and then it kept on getting pushed in Ralph's face. So then he actually needed that, and so he went back to it, and he's like, "Oh, we can do this to create this solution." So he ended up using that because that was at the top of his head. Sure, he already had that just pushed in front of him, but since it was already something in need, it just caught on right away.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, let's do it. So it also,
psychology behind ads, like it's crazy.
yeah, and technology now, like, it's actually doing that. So like, this is known now, but like, I'll use this example. My cousin was talking about how they have a spider problem in their apartment, and then they were telling that to somebody that they had in their apartment at the time, and then when they left, they checked their phone. All they see is spider repellent, spider catcher.
Yeah, because your
And-
phone's listening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but besides that point, that's at the top of their mind, so they're gonna get that. So that's another perfect example.
And he was telling me like one of the tools they use, they have a couple, he does like a bunch of different like solutions to help like different companies and developers like advertise their building or whatever, their product. And there's a couple different ways they can do it. One of the ways is they call it geofencing, and basically you can put like a perimeter around let's say a school, a library, a stadium, a store, and anyone to enter into that space gets targeted and like served that
Whoa.
specific ad. And it's really weird. So again, let's say we're entering the library, right? And obviously think about the people who would go to the library. Let's say someone who's trying to read, someone who's
Bookworms.
trying to study, someone who's trying to take out a book,
Could a jerk.
get a library card, younger people, and people usually in this area. So let's say I was trying to target something. Let's say it was like reading glasses, because people are reading books. So
Elderly.
you could geofence the area, and someone would
Yeah.
walk in, and then soon enough they'd get that specific ad for that product on their device.
Yeah.
Okay, look at this. So I found it. It's called Google My Ad Center, and we're gonna review the information. None of this I put in, and let's see what it gives me. So, okay, so these are the ads that it recommends me. We're gonna filter by most seen. So I get games, music and audio, graphics and multimedia software, skincare, fitness, social
Sounds
networks
just like
and
you.
online communities, motor vehicles, vehicle tires and tire parts, investing, legal, language education, colleges, universities, and post-secondary education,
Sounds just like you.
gyms, gym memberships, photo software,
my God.
clothing, fun tests, silly surveys, tourist attractions and
What
destinations,
kind of silly
beverages,
surveys are you talking about?
hockey. There's just it keeps going. But yeah, when my dad told me that and made me search it up, I was like shocked, because a lot of it was like pretty
I
accurate.
saw like a playlist on an ad on Spotify, and I clicked it accidentally. The next day, that's every single ad was
Yeah.
music playlist. And then once it realized that I'm not interested, it fucked off and gave me like some other stuff.
Yeah, so an interesting thing about that is what a lot of people will do in like the digital advertising space. If you get a lot of pop-up ads, what will happen, let's say you accidentally click one, like you said, your experience, you got served the same ad over and over and over again. What they can do is as soon as you click that ad, your like account or your profile is like tracked pretty much. Like they got you, like they got what they wanted. And now as soon as you press that, they can just keep serving whatever ads they want. Music profiles, this, that, blah, 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 blah.
What do
They'll
they have
just
access
keep
to?
serving, I guess just like your
Whereabouts?
like account information. So
Okay.
if you go back to that Google My Ads thing,
Yeah.
they'll find, I guess, your demographic, where you live, your interest, hobbies, blah, 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 and then they'll like target towards that.
Mm.
So a lot of this is like super technical and like really smart, because you see people, obviously if you're spending a lot of money on advertising, you want it to connect with the people that you're trying to market towards.
Mhm.
And so that's why they have all these like little things in place. But yeah, it's super interesting. Like if you haven't done it, go and see it, and you'll see like how scary accurate like some of like the interest it has for you and like what you've searched, because it's all based on what you search and like what you input to Google. And
I mean, like, everybody's like, oh my god, GPT-4, it's so scary. We've been, like, going so much in technology and AI in, like, 1 year. I'm like, it's not scary. I mean, it was bound to happen. Like, look at how much we've gone in the past, like, decade in like, phones alone.
Yeah.
Like, you think if you went back in time, 2010, show what the fuck you were going to do on your phone, you think those motherfuckers with iPhone 2 were going to, like, not be surprised? Like, they could have done none of that. Like,
yeah.
But it is crazy how quick that the AI has came to be in terms of like music, like with artists. And
Oh
stuff.
my
yeah, they're
God,
gonna
those are
give
crazy.
Chat GPT-4 all internet access. Okay.
Great.
And
Skynet's in 5 years, so
Yeah.
bring it on. I don't think AI will have opinions. I could be wrong. Hey, I don't know, right? Like, fuck, the future is unknown.
The whole thing's like, I think it is scary because
Yeah.
again, like, I watched this video. This is like a long time ago, but it's basically saying AI like it has one mission, like one goal, like set in. Well, like yeah, or like AI is built with like generally like a sort of like basis or like a framework. Like I guess ChatGPT would be like to help people, and so like I saw this video. This is like years ago. I forget what video it was, but the guy was saying it would go so far. Like he used the analogy, like example of, let's say an AI was tasked to print pieces of paper, right? And so it'd start off by like the human like serves the machine paper, and then it starts, or like the materials to make paper, it will condense it, make paper, good, right? And then it will try to be like better. Okay, so it will tell the person, it will give instructions, or will like somehow make the person give it more materials to make paper, right? And then it will keep like just scaling up and scaling up and scaling up, and it will like it wants to like complete its mission to the best of its ability. So then let's say humans aren't doing that as well. It will go do it on its own. It will produce something. It will find some information on how to do it better than humans. And the thing is, like, it can just go.
It
like,
goes to a point
it
where
won't
it's like,
stop.
I've been listening to some Juice World AI because him specifically and like XXX and like I think those two are like the biggest AI generated music artists to this
Kanye
day.
too.
Yeah.
Any big rappers.
But then
like,
you look at Obama and Trump.
yeah.
Those ones are so huge, like even bigger. But I'm just talking about artists. Juice World, I found this out in the funniest way. I was listening to Juice World and I was like going through shorts or something, and I saw him singing. I don't know what the song is called, but it's like I make a cup of coffee for your head, you know. And I was like, what the fuck? I know, but the AI was singing it, and it was Juice World. So I was like, what? This didn't even come out when he was alive. And then I'm like fact checking. I'm like, no, I'm right. And then I look at the comments like, oh, AI. I'm like, what? And then that's how I first learned about it. It sounded so fucking real. Some of it, like I know like Uber Duck or whatever it's called, like that's like, you know, bad side of it. Some is so like FL. Like I saw this one guy on shorts like do FL. Like he literally like I'm not gonna put the video in here because it's kind of like reductant, but he had the FL Studio. He searched up Juice WRLD beat, put the Juice WRLD filter on. It sounded meh, like just by itself. He rapped over the beat. Holy fuck, he had the same style, the same flow as Juice WRLD, and it sounded so real. If you showed me that, it would be like, hey, this is Juice WRLD. Wow, when did that come out? And people are saying, well, R.I.P. all of his unreleased because now we can't tell the difference, which is 100% true. Because it's like, I've never heard this song before. It's probably unreleased too. Oh, that's probably AI, you know?
100%.
One thing I haven't seen that I thought of is that what if these artists one day say to themselves, I don't want to hop in the booth anymore. I'm just going to put it into AI. They'll do it for me.
You know what it reminds me of? I don't know if you remember this, but the World Cup ad where it's like all the like there's like Ronaldo, Messi.
Oh, the Nike ads?
Yeah, and they're all playing like the robots. Do you remember that ad?
Yeah.
And the robots, and they play like the game to like win, like to save humanity. But like, okay, it's honestly. I thought it was
Same thing.
Same. You know what I'm trying to say though. But it's like it's the same thing. It's like why try anymore when there's all these people? Because they had like the parallels of themselves in like the aliens or the robots or whatever in the ad, right? But
just the alien or robotic
version of them. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, they were robots.
It was robots, yeah.
It was like, yeah.
And so that ad, like, it's just like that. It's like almost like parallels of the person, but it's not really them. And then this begs the question too: do you think this is really art? Is really music? Because you're not really doing anything, are you? In terms of artists, and like
music is different though. I mean, as long as you hear someone with the same voice, you wouldn't really care. I mean, like right now, your favorite song. Let's say half of your playlist is AI. Are you gonna not listen to the song? You're still jamming to it. Like, it doesn't make a difference.
No, but I think it would make you interpret
Genuine.
it different because
It's not genuine
again,
music.
my teacher said this too. He said, "Would you read a book of someone's like a book where the person tried to appeal to the person and be human, and that's like the purpose of the book is like them trying to relate to you." Like I read a lot of like self-help books and like gym books and like I don't know, just like philosophy and stuff like that. But what's the point if it's created by AI? There's no human element to it. And the human element's important in a lot of those books, especially if it's someone giving advice, like advice books and like self-help books. What's the point if it's all AI?
If it's a robotic guy.
Because it's not a real person.
He doesn't understand where I'm
and they haven't done it. So it's like, there's no like legitimacy to it.
You're thinking in the past version, because in the future, people might be thinking, that's not something that is in consideration, because that's just how they live. But you're thinking of it as now. Pretty solid episode. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you like this episode, check out our other episodes. You can see them all on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts. Anywhere you listen, we probably have it. So check that out in the description. This has been episode 134. 154. I don't know why I said 34. 154 of the Podcast Boys. Thank you for watching, and we'll